On the day of her wedding, a maid brought Alice a bowl of food, her face full of concern, telling Alice she hadn't eaten all day, and gently urging her to eat something. Just as Alice was about to pick up her chopsticks, she suddenly turned and held the food up to the maid's mouth, telling her to take the first bite. The maid froze, her face instantly pale. She stood up coldly and said she would go. She had no choice but to force herself to take a bite in front of Alice. She thought that would be enough, that Alice would lower her guard, but the next second, Alice suddenly raised her hand and smashed a teacup straight at the maid, then commanded others to search her on the spot. Just as the maid panicked with nowhere to raised her hand and knocked her flying. Because Alice wasn't from this world, she had been a top. But one accident had sent her into a novel into the body of the original heiress who was tortured to death in the story just days ago. It was supposed to be Lucy, the adopted daughter who married Jack, but when Lucy heard Jack was a ruthless killer, she threw a tantrum on the spot and forced the marriage onto Alice instead. The entire family adored Lucy. She got everything she wanted and constantly slandered Alice behind her. Back today was the day Alice married Jack. She made up her mind to change the fate of the girl whose body she now lived in. Her top priority was to win over Jack the next day. She told Jack everything about the attempted assassination the night before, even handed over a full list of the suspects involved. She put on a pitiful face, trying to win Jack's sympathy, but Jack stared at her for a long time and coldly said she was faking it. Alice grumbled silently in her head. Jack heard her inner voice without a word. He handed her a plate of pastries. Alice instantly hugged him, sincerely, saying it felt so good to have him by her side. Meanwhile, back at her family's estate, they saw the dead maid dressed in a wedding gown and assumed Alice had been tortured to death by Jack, unaware that Alice was currently sitting beside Jack, listening to him play the zither. After a while, she frowned slightly and commented. Jack raised a brow and asked her to try. She stepped forward and sat down. Her fingers touched the strings, and the melody that followed was clear and beautiful. Jack was visibly stunned. Even the servants nearby started dancing to music without realizing it, but just as the atmosphere warmed, a hidden weapon suddenly sliced through the air, headed straight for them.